What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Of course, you know it's your boy B-High Radio Shout, and as always, I got my podcast partner off in this thing, OG Gangsta Wicked, aka Big Galaxy of Ghetto Mafia.
Yes, sir, man. I'm feeling good. I'm back in the building, man, and I'm healthy.
Hey, man, I see you got on them dogs, man. How about them dogs?
Man, this is a throwback. This coat, actually, this is the real deal.
That's
this,
the one you stole out of Hershey Walker's
This is the real
car.
deal leather. You know what I'm saying? And it's been in my family for 30 years. It's from the 70s.
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying? It's been passed down.
Okay.
From generations. I'm going to pass it down to my son.
That's hard.
You know what I'm saying?
Hard.
So this jacket right here, I can probably get a couple $1,000 for it right now. Yeah, this ain't a brand. This ain't brand
it's vintage.
new. That's vintage.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Okay,
so,
I ain't mad at that.
Yeah, so I poured it out, man, to represent, you know what I mean, for the dogs.
Okay.
Even though we can't beat Alabama.
Hey, man, we gonna beat them. We gonna beat them. We gonna figure out something. They put on the show over the weekend, boy.
Yeah, we did.
But I will say this, man. I was just looking at the Breakfast Club of Gucci Mane, and Gucci Mane was talking about mental health. And I know you have been known to scream mental health with rappers. I mean, you've been screaming this every 5 minutes. So to see Gucci Mane get on that platform and basically say, you know what, I had issues and I've overcome them, and this is my advice to other people on how I dealt with it. How did you feel about seeing that, man?
Yeah, that really touched me. Actually, big guy, I reached out to Gucci.
Okay.
Told him that I was proud of him for being able to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Because that's the first step.
Yeah.
You know, as I see here as a guy that has over the years has taken clozapams and all kind of different stuff for depression and mental illness. That a lot of stuff we get from rap. Mm-hmm. I always say that, and people, it go over their head. I say that what rap has given most of us artists is insomnia, is alcoholism, is drug addiction. Mm-hmm. It's sexism and an overall state of just not well-being, paranoia. Yeah. These are things that most of us get out of rap. We come in rap, looking for the bling bling, the diamonds, the fast cars, the pretty women. But a lot of us get what I just said, the
mental health issues.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I've seen it with a lot of rappers, that come in, spirit up, and then by the time we leave up out of this, tail tucked and we depressed. And not just rap, entertainers, actors, ball players, athletes. I've seen athletes when they can't run a 4.2 no more. Yeah. They get out here and you hear about them sleeping on the bridge or riding around with 90 guns on a motorcycle.
Delonte West.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So to hear Gucci, talk about his issues publicly, that it resonated with me because you have a lot of people that look at you as weak. Yeah. Once you you come clean and say, look, I have a problem. And this is what it is right here. It's hard to do that, especially with a lot of us black men and where we come from. We already are being kicked while we down. Yeah. So the last thing we want is to show a sign of being weak. Yeah. You understand?
Vulnerability.
So, vulnerability. And when he spoke about a lot of the people around him, that they would know that when he would be having an episode, that they would take advantage of that because when he would have episodes, he would give away stuff, give away jewelry, give away whatever, cars, clothes, whatever, and they would they would take advantage of that. They were just there for to see what they could get. They really wasn't in his corner. Another thing that was telling in the interview with Gucci was that what we attract. You know what I'm saying? Our energy. Yeah. If you're lazy and you broke, you more than likely you're gonna attract lazy and broke people. Yeah. If you're schizo and paranoid and doing drugs, you'll probably look up and a lot of your friends will be kind of the same way. Yeah. I when I got to thinking back over my life, and I had already heard this before Gucci because I've been through it, and I said I would be on the phone And, you know, if I'm going through, you know, an episode, especially if I'm, you know, drinking with it or, you know what I'm saying, doing whatever, getting live, and I could always call 10 people.
Yeah.
You know, 10 of my partners.
Yeah.
And you know what? I found out that they will all be up.
Yeah.
And pretty much we would all be doing the same thing. And, you know, I could call this person at 3 o'clock, this person at 2 o'clock, this person, and the people that wasn't doing it, I couldn't call my mother at 2 o'clock. I would have to make sure I say, you know what, don't accidentally send mama a text. Because she going to know something ain't right. She going to like, what are you doing up at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday night when you supposed to be at high in the morning? You understand what I'm saying? So I would notice that everybody that was in the same boat that I was in would normally be up, and I could talk to them. So I would always, you know, in my head say, well, you know why, you know, this is my partner, she my partner, because they're always there for me. When in actuality they were just going through the same thing I was going through, insomnia, drug addiction. You understand what I'm saying? So of course they would be there for me because we're on the same time. People that wasn't doing that, they're in the bed at 9:30, 10 o'clock, getting ready to be up in the morning and do something productive. You understand what I'm saying? So him saying that, I understood that fully, and I told him that. Another thing that jumped out to me about the interview, and I've been there through, I've been there, is getting, you know, a good woman. Or if it isn't a woman, you know, a good family member, just a good friend. There's a lot of good partners that have over the years have said, we're not gonna do this. This is how we're gonna play it. You know what I'm saying? First of all, you know, I'm gonna take your keys. You know, I'm gonna take your phone. You know, because I know once you start going through your episode that you may cuss out anybody. You know me well as anybody. You know me very well, and you know how I get once I would go through my episodes. That would be, and Gucci spoke about that. And the next day we'd be like, damn, I don't called you plenty times, B-High. And I'd be like, man, you know, I cussed out so and so. You know what I'm saying? I want to shout out. You know, while I'm talking about this, Greg Street, because he's definitely, and even JD, you know, because they're two guys that I give hell. you know, when I've been there, you know, Greg will sit there and listen to me for an hour and just be like, you know, you finished yet? You know, and he'll sit there patiently with me and be like, you know, you all right with? You know, so and you, you know, you don't sit there and listen to my shit.
I done heard it.
You see what I'm saying?
You get very long-winded.
So I understood everything that Gucci was saying. We like to, as people with, you know, with mental illnesses, we like to think that we have it under control. I sit here today and, you know, I can easily say, well, I hear Gucci's interview, but mine's ain't quite that bad. But there are people like that probably think mine's is, you know, just as bad. You know, so I felt everything that he said. It was inspiring to me to know that I'm not in it alone.
That's right.
And that there's different variations of mental health. You know, also, you know, and I feel like a lot of people have mental health issues that don't want to deal with it. You know, that they don't think that they have mental health issues. Because for a long time, I didn't think I didn't have a problem. I just like, this nigga need to be cussed the fuck out. This person need to be told, you know what I'm saying, about themselves, because everybody else won't tell them about themselves. So you know what, I'm the one, they got the right one. You understand what I'm saying? And being able to recognize when someone else was coming to me the same way. Because there are people that have mental health that has mental health issues. There are people in the comments that have mental health issues. And when I first started with you, and I would see somebody write me a paragraph, you know, a whole paragraph in the comments that don't know me from a can of paint. You know what I'm saying? I would feel compelled. I'd be like, I'm gonna go ahead and cuss this motherfucker out. This nigga don't know me from Adam.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And you would always say, you don't know who you're talking to with. You don't know if this person on the other end, has mental health issues, if they going through an episode. Yeah. And I would just be like, damn, you know what I'm saying?
Just 10 years old.
Absolutely.
A 10-year-old troll from Idaho.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying, man, it was inspiring to hear, and I pray for the brother, and I told him to keep his head up. He's not out here, alone with this. And we all just have to, we all have to take care of each other. We all have issues out here. There's nothing wrong with if you do have an issue, find you somebody like B. Howe or my mother or this person.
I got mental health too. My mental gets tired just like everybody else's.
Yeah. I've seen you when you go there. People think that you laid back. I tell them all the time. I say, B. Howe packet now here. You gonna get one a month now where he gonna tell you about yourself.
Sometimes you got to meet folks where they at.
Correct.
So if you want to be crazy, then guess what? I got to meet you there. Instead of trying to bring you over here to me, I'm going to go ahead and walk on across the street and meet you over there this time.
Yeah.
How about that?
Correct. And that's hard to separate the two.
Yeah.
Because I don't have, I probably haven't had, since I, stopped drinking a lot and out here kicking it. Yeah. Since I've slowed down a lot. And my age has been instrumental in that. I just don't got tired.
Yeah.
I don't have, I may have one a year.
Yeah.
I'm just really, really, now I'm like you to where I have a mild while I want to cuss your ass out. And that's what kind of, I still give you two of those a month.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm talking about the real deal, like what Gucci was going through, like when he was walking down the street.
Yeah, flushing your life down the drain.
Absolutely.
Crazy. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sitting there, looking out the window, like Tupac said, I feel death around the corner. Yeah. Gotta stay high while I survive in the city where the skinny niggas die. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're talking about.
I was feeling like that for a while, and but so I don't have those anymore, thank God. Yeah. But it was just a great interview, man. And shout out to that boy and anybody else that's kind of going through it.
What about with Nicki Minaj? Because she was working with Gucci Mane for a long time as well, but now they're trying to say that she's having mental illness spells with the content that she's been putting out recently, man. So I mean, what do you think when you see Nicki going through something similar?
Yeah, and my girl Mac Breezy was going through a thing. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to her. That's my sister.
Mac Breezy.
And to see Nicki going through this, that kind of like what Kanye was going through. I know when Kanye was going through his thing, a lot of people were rah-rahing it because out of these episodes, a lot of truth comes out of these episodes. Yeah. See, so it's hard for a sane person to tell what is acting or what is a person being real. Yeah. Like so a lot of the stuff when I would tell people about themselves and somebody else would be watching it, they would cheer me on. Because they'd be like, she needed to be called he needed to be called a butch ass nigga. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Wick, you did the right thing. But I was doing it because of I was coming from a totally different place. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? And so when I see Nicki doing this, I see a lot of her fans, say, Cardi need to be checked, or this person need to be checked. Nicki just keeping it 100. Yeah. They don't, a lot of them don't realize that this is an episode and this is a cry for help. Yeah. That and a lot of stuff, sparks it. Drugs, alcohol, stress, depression, all kinds of different things. I don't know what the cause of it is, what triggers her particular thing. Mine was just drugs. I'm gonna be straight up. Yeah. I they really don't know hard drugs, but even just alcohol, a lot of blunts.
Too much alcohol.
You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. And then with the stress of everything else, of life, that'll trigger me. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? But I think that, hearing her
there's sober people that still got mental health issues
sober too.
So,
absolutely. I said drugs is maybe that's a spark. It could be anything. Yeah. You start getting those bills and you got I got partners with 7, 8 kids and they don't know how they're gonna and then school come around and everybody needs outfits and the rent needs to be paid. Do I get everybody outfits or do I pay the rent? That sent a person in the episode.
Oh, I told folks for the longest I had post-traumatic stress to poverty. remedy.
Okay? Correct. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
So it ain't just alcohol. I was saying in my particular case.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But in a lot of cases, it's just life.
Yeah.
You know, you can start getting them bills across the table, man, and that's a drug.
Come on.
You know, so I don't know what's actually sparking hers, but at the end of the day, it does look familiar if you know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
It looks like, you know, a mental health.
Yeah.
It looks like you're out of control.
Yeah.
It looks like that you have no filter.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people cheer that on because they don't know, you know, really what they're looking at.
Yeah.
They take it for something else.
Yeah.
Take it for being a G.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A self-control is being a G.
Yeah.
You know, not being able to control you know, your mind and your mouth
Yeah.
is not being a G. I'll tell you that, you know, right now.
Facts.
So, you know, I pray for her too.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know, I don't know the situation, the relationship between her and Gucci.
Yeah.
I heard her saying stuff about Gucci's wife. I know that's not a good idea to talk about a man's wife.
Exactly.
But she has went there with that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if if he's on speaking terms with her to even want to help once you kind of cross that line.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe there's, you know, someone around her can say, hey, you know, this is going a little bit too far. This is what we need to do, because you lose, you get to a point too with these episodes that you can't come back from. You can certain stuff that you can say and do that even though you have mental illness, people still just can't ever forgive. Yeah. And you know, you lose your wife. That's Kanye. You lose being able to see the kids. Yeah. You know, so hopefully somebody can grab her by the collar. Yeah. And say, hey, you're crashing out, and this is what we have to, because she may not feel like she's mentally ill. She may feel like, because a lot of times when you are, absolutely, a lot of times when we go through these episodes, we think it's everybody else. Yeah. It's y'all pushing me. Yeah. You pushing my buttons, man. Yeah. You know what you're doing to me. Yeah. It's always about me.
But then also, Wick, I'm going to have to go ahead and take it here. Inside of this industry where we're living in a fantasy reality world at the same time. So you understand your reality might not be the same reality of the common man out there, but you understand that the industry reality is a fantasy reality with a bunch of facades that are taken as reality. Correct. And, you know, the reality is taken for granted, but the fantasy is taken as the truth. Correct. And you might find yourself on the wrong side of the fantasy or the reality, and you just might want to snap your way up out of it and say, you know what, I'm tired of it, and I'm not going to play along with it anymore.
Absolutely, but then, if that is your mindset, then just do it. Yeah. You know, just shut your mouth and do it. See, when we feel the need to have to spout out to try to fight our way out of something that we could just get out by, if we really wanted to be out,
just
we can be out.
Of it,
That's what my mother used to always say. If you really want to leave that woman alone, you don't have to fight and kick and punch your way out of the door. Yeah. Grab your pair of drawers and a toothbrush and leave.
Walk out of there.
And walk out of there. If that's what really you want to do. Yeah. Other than that, when you're making a scene going out, do you really want to leave?
It's called going out with a bang. Yeah. You know, some folks like to go out with a bang, sober or crazy.
Well, like I said, at the end of the day, the sister, I'm gonna pray for her too. Yeah, me too. And I don't know her specific situation, because she hadn't come out like Gucci and talked about it. And maybe one day she'll get to that point. And until then, saying all we can do is just pray for our brothers and sisters, because mental health is definitely rampant in the black community.
Facts.